Yo, what is up, guys? Nick here, and we are once again venturing into a new kind of format. So for a while I've wanted to do anime reviews to some extent because I love anime, as you can see from my hero poster in the back. But yeah, I love anime, and I love being able to create content, so I figured why not put the two together. And in time for what seems to be a stellar year for anime premieres and anime seasons, starting, of course, with Attack on Titan. So Attack on Titan is a show that I just caught up with recently with my roommates, and am in love with. The characters are done so well, the music, the animation, everything is amazing. And with season 4 being probably one of the biggest finales to any show, period, in the past like 10 years, I wanted to throw my hat into the ring as far as reviews go or analyses go, and just give my take on the show, each episode that comes out that's new. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, Nick, what are you doing a week and 2 days late to the premiere of season 4? Okay, yeah, I am a little late, but with today's video, I want to analyze both episode 1 and 2 of season 4 of Attack on Titan and get myself back on track. I want to dive right into talking about the episode, but without even having to say anything, there are going to be spoilers ahead, so if you haven't seen episodes 1 and 2 of Attack on Titan season 4, be sure to check that out wherever you can. Anyway, for those of you who have seen it, or for those of you who just don't care, let's get into it. So when I heard that season 4 of Attack on Titan was going to be animated by a different studio, I was a little apprehensive. In the past couple of years, whenever a studio changes hands, or an anime changes studio hands, with 7 Deadly Sins, One Punch Man, the results have been kind of less than satisfactory, but I still held on to hope that Attack on Titan would maintain the level of quality that it has up until this point. The studio MAPPA, now the studio that animates Attack on Titan, I'm sure understands the depth and passion that they have to put into this new season and the expectations put on them because this is the last season of such a great show. And we'll get into the animation quality a little bit later, but I will say this now. I am very satisfied. Like, it does not disappoint. Studio MAPPA has done a great job all around with at least giving us a first impression of what to expect in the coming episodes of season 4. So anyway, season 4 begins, and we are introduced to an entirely different cast of characters. You don't see any Eren, you don't see Mikasa, you don't see Armin, you don't see Levi, none of the cast that we've come to know the past bunch of seasons. But instead, we are introduced to a couple of new characters, most notably Falco and Gabby. Falco seems to take the role of main character, at least for this episode, in that, you know, you see him in the outro, you see his perspective throughout most of the first episode, and we're thrown into the trenches of this Eldian war that has been going on for apparently 4 years after the end of season 3. So there's a little bit of a time jump, which will probably explain why the characters that we do know, when they show up, will look different. But as far as these new characters go, I like Gabby. I like how outgoing she is and crafty she is, just with the way that she gets the opportunity to derail the armored train, and she's very enthusiastic, a bit of a go-getter, but at the same time, she's very headstrong. And I appreciate seeing that in a character, especially in a show like this where a lot of the characters are melancholy. But like, you can't blame these characters either because the world is so messed up. As far as Falco goes, he doesn't really make a super huge first impression on me as far as the first episode goes. But as we go through episode 1, we see Reiner again, and we see Zeke again too. And might I just say, Reiner's entrance into this episode and back into the show is probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite moment from episode 1. Just the way that he comes out, almost like he's been through this before. Like, the way he says it, he's like, I'm sick of walls. He turns into a Titan. He is not excited to be fighting this war. Like it seems like Gabby is, or some of the newer recruits that are trying to inherit the Armor Titan powers. And I love to see that, because, you know, in our final season with these characters, we see a sort of, especially with the time jump, there is a unique opportunity there to see these perspectives of characters shift and evolve. So I loved getting to see Reiner come charging down as the Armored Titan, knocking people out. The CG in these parts, like in the Titan parts, I didn't think were bad at all. I thought it looked I thought it looked good. I think it was only jarring a little bit at first because we aren't used to seeing the Titans animated in 3D, or at least that kind of 3D. But I mean, it was smooth enough. I didn't think it looked very janky. I thought the character models, they stayed on model for the most part throughout all of the CG sequences. And then you see Zeke turn into a Titan, and that looked okay too. Another part of episode 1 that I want to talk about is the opening, because that's one of the very first things that you see after we're introduced a little bit to these new characters. I really like the opening, and I know a lot of people are, from what I've seen, it's not a very popular opening immediately. But from what I gathered, and I'll mention my conversations with my roommates a lot, because that is where a lot of my hypotheses are coming from, and a lot of my theories and speculation. But to me, the new opening feels a lot like propaganda. And as we go into episode 2, it's obvious to me that there is a lot of, mental like manipulation going on here as far as people in the mainland go, and we'll get to that a little bit later on. But I love how the opening hammers home these images of colorful explosions and soldiers walking by, and it really sets the tone for the story that the show is about to tell. It's obvious from the opening and from the fact that we don't see these main characters that this is going to be a very different tone for the show, or at least it's going to be a different perspective, and that will lead us right into episode 2 of Attack on Titan, which gives us a little less action but a little bit more background into the world that we have been put in at the start of season 4. So in episode 2, we're introduced to a couple more characters. We are introduced to Gabby and Reiner's family. They belong to the same family, and Gabby is trying to get the power of the Armored Titan. She wants it really bad, and she's probably the top candidate based on the approval that she gets from all of her comrades on the train back to their hometown after, derailing the armored train. And again, my favorite part of episode 2 centers entirely around Reiner and how Reiner being, being the warrior who was on the other side of the wall, who was on Paradise Island, who was infiltrating the military over there. He is put in a unique position where he has to explain to his family and to everyone else what it was like over there. And he starts describing characters like Sasha, and he starts describing characters like Armin and Eren, and you can tell just a little bit he has to put on a face for his family and for everyone over there, because he knows that they're all fighting for something. But he also knows he's conflicted on the inside, because he knows that he cared about those people, at least to a certain extent, and he knows that those memories still live with him. So after that conversation at the dinner table happens, Gabby runs up to him and is like, hey, Aunt, whatever was worried about you. Like, she says that she's, you've changed. And we know that he's changed because previously in the episode, he is talking to Falco, and he asks him to affirm his loyalty to Marley. And he's like, you want the power of the Armor Titan, right? And he said, and Falco has to put on a face as well, almost. When in reality, Reiner only wants him to get the Armor Titan power, I assume. He only wants Falco to get the Armor Titan power to break this cycle of war, of, people killing Titans and Titans eating people. And he knows that if the Armor Titan power were given to someone as stubborn and as not blindly driven, but oblivious to the realities of the world as Gabby is, then the cycle will continue, just as it did when Eren received the power of the Founding Titan. Now, what I will say is, as far as Eren goes, his perspective or his stance on everything has sort of changed. But when I watched the second episode, I realized that Gabby and Eren, or at least season 1 Eren, are very similar in that, again, they are almost blindly driven to fight. Where, you know, Eren wanted to kill all the Titans because he had a personal vendetta against them, and Gabby wants to fight for her side as strongly as Eren wanted to fight for his. And Reiner recognizes this conflict in Falco, the kind of conflict that Eren has later on after he inherits the power of a Titan. And again, I'm just assuming here, I'm just speculating, but it seems that Reiner knows that if each side had someone with incredible power who is as conflicted as both Eren and Falco are, then maybe this war will come to an end. Maybe you know, there will be no more fighting. Maybe the world will be a better place. But I have a really bad feeling that this show is not going to go in that direction. I have a really bad feeling that this show is going to end tragically, and I'm not ready for that, because, you know, you don't watch a whole lot of shows that have really bad endings and leave a sour taste in your mouth. But maybe this is what I need. You know, maybe this is the kind of twist sourness that I need in my life right now. But looking ahead to episode 3, we will get to see, or at least to meet, the owner of, is it the Warhammer Titan? Yeah. Okay. We will get to meet either the Titan itself or the owner of the Warhammer Titan, which is, I think, the only Titan that we haven't seen in the show so far. From the posters and from everything that I've seen involving this Titan, it's designed really well, and I'm so excited to see what its powers are and meet this family who apparently owns the power of this Titan. I'm not sure if I missed anything, but seeing as I was trying to combine the reviews of episode 1 and 2, I might have skimmed over a couple of things. So if there's anything else that I missed, be sure to let me know in the comments below, or let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you like this kind of format, me doing anime reviews? And if so, you know, I'm always open to other shows. So anyway, that'll be it from me. To commemorate this new format of video, I will now be eating the chocolate potato chip candy bar featuring Attack on Titan's best girl, Sasha Brous. Now, I've never had this chocolate before, but it does say on the packaging that it is Scout Regiment approved, and I have never been, I don't think the Scout Regiment would have any reason to lie to me. Okay, bottoms up. Not bad.